it's critical that hearing what people feel, sometimes even if it's a little uncomfortable, is part of the process of just being able to be, to be forgiving, to be open and work with people who may not see things quite the same way that you see them. But it doesn't mean that they're wrong. It doesn't mean that they're right either. But it means that if you don't understand them, you're not going to be effective in communicating.
Well, what you were saying, Kurt, was hit the nail right on the head, because what we got to do in forgiveness, no matter what you believe, and is look at it from their perspective. No matter how bad it could be to you, no matter how bad it could affect you or, those around you, you got to look at their perspective. And I got to be honest, I am more guilty in my mind of not taking that other person's perspective, because once you look at from where they're coming, you don't know what issues they've dealt with. You don't know what's been going on in their mind, their heart, the struggles, the stress that they've had at home, or, whether something just happened to set them off. So then as they're already angry and aggravated, and you say something in a joke, you say something in any way or sense, you're going to get the backlash, and you should forgive them, but you didn't do anything. But because of what they went through, they brought it down on you. So, talking about, these different things is you got to flip the script and view from their perspective, which you can only guess, where that person's coming from, unless, like you're saying, it's a friend, because...
Or you ask. We were talking about ask.
or ask, yes, ask.
Yeah, but ask. Where are you coming from? I mean, this is what I'm thinking. Where are you coming from with that? So, yeah. No, I feel you. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut across.
Oh, I mean, it's all right. But just as you ask, as you do whatever, and sometimes besides that, when you don't ask, you don't have time. So then, your feelings are hurt, and you want to forgive them, but then you don't look from their perspective, so you do ask. Or like what I was going to say is a friend that you've known for a long time, you almost can know where they're coming from, because hopefully in that friendship, y'all have shared, more and more, because, a friend you want to keep almost as close as a brother. And acquaintances, where you just keep them out there, but hopefully the people you run into at some point, you have an idea that you want to be their friend. And for me, that's what's true is, as I meet people, I'd love to end up getting in friendships, but I've met and known and been around so many people that it's difficult to do, and try not to get off the topic here, but that's just the way I've been made, is to be open and to meet people. So, and right now, I guess that's about it for now, Kurt. So.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Go ahead.
Let me take it back, Kurt.
Oh, sorry. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead there, Nola.
I was listening to what he said, and he said something that stuck out to me. He said that's just the way he was made. So looking at how we are created to be social beings. Our society, our world has made it to where we are now just sort of kind of like a robot. We are so in a rush. We're like an ant-man that has been disturbed. We come up and our goal is to rip and run, and we don't have time to sit down and say, "Hey, Kirk, how you doing?" And genuinely mean how you doing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that moves, for and beyond when you walk up to someone at a restaurant and you say, "Hello, how you doing?" "I'm doing good." And they return back to you. And so when you create that little small dialogue of a window, now, if I ask you for some extra sauce, you shouldn't get mad. Why? Because you just told me that you was doing good. You see? And so that breaks all of that tension up when we're sincere and just asking a simple question. I'm not trying to get in your business, but I used to be a crane operator. And so as a crane operator, I am responsible for BA, Curry, and Mustang. I'm responsible for y'all. So if Mustang come in and he's tipsy because we've been out drinking and he's the one giving me instructions and I'm sitting in the crane trying, And what happens to Kurt and BA if I'm dropping the load over them and I don't really see the signs that Mustang is giving me? Things happen. So all of us have to be accountable for one another. And that's the same thing we need to present to people when we go out into the world. Hello, how you doing? We're accountable to you. I need to know how you're doing, because if you're not doing good, then you're the one I'm buying my food from. You're going behind this back door, this counter, you're serving some food. I don't know. I don't know how you're feeling, because I didn't ask. Only thing I just want, listen, I don't care. Give me a Big Mac with a cold drink. And that's it. And so you're taking all of that presumption away from that person. You're not giving that person an opportunity to just say, you know what, I'm having a bad day. Because even though you're having a bad day, we treat you when we meet you like, I don't care how your day is. I just need to get what I need to get so I can go where I need to go.
Well, yeah, I've got to comment on that. I saw this happened locally. I saw it happen. And it's so beautiful that he just said that, because this is exactly what it was. It was an example of somebody actually took some time and listened. So I was in Little Caesars, and just behind this guy, and basically, he asked the lady, how are you doing today? Or something like that. No, that's right. Came in and asked about the pizzas. It was Little Caesars, you get it for $5, like instantly, right? Well, Little Caesars $5. Hey, I'm so sorry, we're out of the pizzas. Wait, what? You're out of Little Caesars pizzas? It's going to be like 10, 15 minutes before they're done. They're always $5. We're used to that. So anyway, all that to say, the girl behind the counter, you just ask them, like typically I would ask, how you doing? Hey, how are you? Okay, good. Okay, I don't really care for the answer. I'm just being polite. Well, this person was actually like, hey, how you doing? How's everything going? Oh, wow, what's going on? Somebody wants to buy our pizzas. And she just goes off, and she's just, but in a good way, and just starts letting it all out. Yes, somebody came in, they bought all our pizzas. I had people yelling at me saying, we're supposed to be Little Caesars, we're supposed to be fast, but obviously nobody took the time to ask, hey, what happened? So when she just poured all this out, this guy actually goes, there's a ice cream shop next door. Goes next door, buys everybody over their ice cream, But that was from taking the time to listen and understand, oh, you are not able to meet my expectations, right? Not be able to meet the expectations I had because of the situation that you were thrown into. You weren't being slow. You weren't being lazy. You weren't not following policy. You had somebody just come in and buy all of your pizzas, everything for whatever part of your shindig they had. And so it put everybody behind. And now I have understanding, or that guy had understanding. And because he had understanding, it moved him to compassion. He went, bought them all. Hey, you're having a bad day. Why don't we take care of that?
Yeah, I think Yeah, that's an excellent point. I think you brought up something that really dovetails well with what we've talked about. And you talked about developing a relationship, and then you talked about developing understanding. And BA alluded to it, Nola alluded to it, and you just alluded to it as well. And what really has kind of come out of this particular issue, and we'll wrap it up here on this particular topic. But forgiveness really comes from two places. The first is understanding the difference between realistic guilt and unrealistic guilt. The second is understanding your expectations relative to the reality, and recognizing that may not necessarily be accurate to have the expectations, but you can adjust your expectations if you cultivate a relationship. And I think it's critical for us to begin this process of understanding that relationships lead to understanding, and understanding can reduce the level of conflict by opening up the avenues of empathy. When you can look at something from someone else's perspective, it's easier to forgive them. It's easier to look at their circumstance and say, hey, you know what? I've got a little understanding on this. I've walked in your shoes. It may not be what I appreciate, but I get this. I can understand this. And I think that is really the sort of wrapped up bow presentation of what we've been talking about today. We've been talking about forgiveness. I'm your host, Kirk Kennedy, and we've been joined in studio by BA, by Mustang, and by NOLA 73. We've been talking about forgiveness, unrealistic expectations, and how to adjust our expectations so that we don't live in the valley of disappointment. We've also talked about the importance of cultivating proper relationships, and relationships are the way that we gain understanding. And through understanding, we can have compassion and empathy, something that's dreadfully missing in our society today. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back next time when we discuss Conversations from the Cave.
Conversations from the Cave is brought to you by the Alabama Cornea Care Center, Northern Alabama's first irregular cornea, keratoconus, and scleral lens referral center. specializing in the management of degenerative cornea disease and complications resulting from refractive surgery. For more information, you may visit them on the web at alabamacorneacare.com. The Alabama Cornea Care Center, helping patients see the light of the world. Conversations from the Cave is a production of the Provox Media Group. For more information or to share your questions or comments, visit our podcast Facebook page by searching Conversations from the Cave. The views expressed on this program are the personal beliefs of the panelists and do not necessarily represent the beliefs of the Provox Media Group or its sponsors. Join us next time for more real talk from real men. Conversations from the Cave.